Let's learn how to prepare a 1040EZ form by doing a tax return, problem number 2, located at the end of chapter 1. That's on page 1-37 of our textbook. So here we have Jin. Her filing status is single. We're given her address in Minnesota and her social security number. She works for Lakeland Automotive as an employee, so after the year's over, she's going to get a W-2 form with this information here, with these amounts, and it's these boxes on the W-2 form with these descriptions. She also has another job with Parts Galore, so again, she's going to get another W-2 form with amounts on that form. And because she's earned interest income from Minnesota Savings and Loan, that financial institution is going to send her a form 1099 INT after the year's over, here in the amount of $51.92. Now, for most taxpayers, you don't need to worry about any Social Security or Medicare costs for income taxes. That probably would be a consideration if you had a higher income taxpayer, or maybe someone that works for as an employee and they have their own business. Okay, so for our problem, we can kind of ignore this information here. Now, in real life, what you would see is not narrative information like this on a page of a textbook, but you actually would see the actual W-2 form provided by the employer and the 1099 form provided by the bank or financial institution. So here is an example of Jin's W-2 form, her W-2 form from Lakeland Automotive, with her wages in box 1 for the year and the amount of income taxes, federal income taxes, taken out from her paycheck by her employer and sent to the government for her. And because Minnesota also has income taxes, they've withheld this amount of state income taxes and forwarded it to the Minnesota state government. The second W-2 form from Parts Galore, again, the important boxes is box 1, the wages for the year, and box 2, the federal income taxes withheld for the year. If you want to get these types of forms, or including the 1099 form, here 1099 from Minnesota Savings, if you want to get these types of forms instead of the narrative for the tax return problems at the end of the chapters, what you can do here on our Laulimo homepage, go ahead and click on the publisher's website link, and instead of choosing one of these chapters like chapter 1 we're in right now, up here at the top where it says source documents, and you can download it's probably in a zip file, the source documents like the W-2s and the 1099 we just saw for all the tax return problems. Not the questions now, but the problems located at the ends of the chapters. So that makes it a little bit more realistic. Here on our home page, let's go ahead and download the 1040EZ form by clicking on this tax forms link, where it opens up a window at the IRS site for downloading tax forms and other tax publications, either for the current year, which right now is 2012, or for prior years, 2011 and earlier years. Since we're doing a 2012 return, let's just go ahead and click on this current button, and there's over 2,000 forms, schedules, and instructions. So we've got to narrow it down by clicking in this find box and typing in 1040. But there's like a dozen different 1040 variations. So let's type in EZ, and that narrows down our search to the actual 1040 form, the 1040EZ form, and the instructions to that form. So let's first download the form by clicking on it, and you can see the form being displayed within my Google browser, Google Chrome browser. So before I start filling in the amounts here in the blanks, what it's best to do is to save it and open up the form in the Acrobat Reader program. So here's my shortcut buttons, and I'll click on the save, and I'll save it to my desktop. But before I save it, let me rename it. So for most tax forms or tax returns, I'm going to have you guys submit. I want you to start off with your name, like my name is Kamida, and then the name of the taxpayer, in this case Jiang, the last name. The F1040EZ was already there as part of the file name. So let me save that to my desktop, and then if I go to my desktop, you can see it right here. Okay, and I want to open it up in my Acrobat Reader software. This is not my Acrobat Reader. So where is it? Here it is. This is my Acrobat Reader software that you can download for free. So let me open that up. And then within this Reader software, let me close my PowerPoint. So here's my Reader software, and I'll just drag and drop my file into my Reader program. So what you're looking at now is that 1040EZ form, to the 1040EZ form within Acrobat Reader. All the blue boxes or fields are places where you can click in and type in a dollar amount or a word, and you can turn off and on these blue highlights by clicking on this button up here. I'll leave it on so it makes it easier for us to identify what we need to fill in. In this case, the first box is where Jin's first name goes. Now to move to the next field, instead of using your mouse, the fast way to move from field to field is to use the Tab key on your keyboard. Tab will move forward, move to the next field, and Shift Tab will move you backwards. Here in the last name field, it's Jiang. Social Security number is 412-345670. Oops. 5670 tab. And in the next line, it would be empty because she's not filing a joint return. Here we're doing the single filing status. Her home address is 2468 North Lake Road in Lakeland, Minnesota 56444, which is not a foreign country. We're not given any information about the Presidential Election Campaign Fund. So here in box 1 is the first dollar amount we would type in, which is the wages reported on box 1 of the W-2 forms. So again, here is box 1 of the first W-2 form, 36,239. So let me erase all this. Let's add up the amount. So here 36,239.29 is the amount of wages, and since I'm here already, let me add up the federal income taxes in the next column of my spreadsheet. That's 4,611.80, and then go to the second W-2 form and add up the wages and federal income taxes. 9167.02, 348.39. Now if you want to learn how to use a spreadsheet like I'm doing right now, the best class to take is Leeward's Business 101, Business Computer Systems, where you would learn Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel like I'm using right now, PowerPoint, Microsoft Access, and some computer concepts. Now to get even more specific in using Excel with accounting, our accounting majors are required to take Accounting 255 using Excel in accounting or with accounting. Okay, but here is the amount I want to use, put in box 1 of the 1040EZ. So I'll give it the copy command and then switch to my 1040EZ here in box 1 and paste that amount. And if you want to paste in or type in the cents would go to the right side of this vertical line here. But in our case, we probably want to round to the nearest dollar. So I'll just backspace off the cents and the decimal point. So in line 2, I need to enter the interest income. So I'll go to the 1040 EZ. Here you can see the 51.92. So I'll round to $52. In line 3 of the 1040 EZ, we don't have any unemployment compensation, so I'll leave it blank. Blanks are zeros, or zeros are blanks. And in line 4, I would add up lines 1, 2, and 3. So $45,458 is our line called adjusted gross income. And we'll learn more about this term probably in chapter number 4 of our semester. In line number 5, we get to subtract out a deduction, and the amount depends upon whether we're single filing status or married filing joint filing status. Also, if you're being claimed as a dependent, the amount may differ. In our case, Jin is not being claimed as a dependent, so she would leave this checkbox blank here. But if she was a dependent, she would check off this box, and then on the back side of the form, there's a worksheet that she would need to fill out, calculating out the amount that she can deduct. And we'll go into this calculation more when we see chapter number 2, our next chapter. But in our case, she's a single filing status, not being claimed as a dependent, so she gets to deduct all of this $9,750, leaving us a difference of $35,708 in the next line. And we know the next line here is our base, the taxable income amount, which we would look up on the tax tables. So let's see if I can go back and grab or download the tax tables from the IRS site. Again, it's the current instructions for the 1040 EZ. Here, this link for instructions. And if I scroll down, I'm looking for a whole bunch of numbers, which is our tax table. But it may be a little bit confusing because right here, this may look like a tax table, but it's really the earned income credit table, something we'll learn about in chapter 9. So I keep on going down the instructions until I see another set of numbers. And here is our tax tables. I'm specifically looking for this $35,708, the taxable income amount. So I scroll down to the 35,000 section right here. 35,000, right? 35,708. Let me zoom in here. 35,708 falls within 35,700 and 35,750. So I go across that row and I stop under the column for our filing status, which is single. So here the tax is $4,961, and I would enter that amount not here in the next line of the 1040 EZ, but I go down here to line 10, $4,961. That's the tax for the whole year. Now going back to line 7, what we need to enter here is all the federal income taxes already paid. And in the case of Jinji's already paid through her W-2. So that was added up here on my spreadsheet of 4960. So let me copy and paste it here in line 7 and backspace off to round off the cents here. Line 8, that earned income credit we briefly saw in the instructions for the 1040 EZ, is something again you're not going to be responsible for until we cover it in chapter 9 later in the semester. So line 7 plus 8 equals that same 4960. So you notice how close that is compared to our tax. In fact, the tax is $1 more than the amount she's already paid during the year. Now, if she had paid more than what was owed for the year, the difference will be put here in line 11 as a refund. But in our case, because she owes $1, that goes down here in line 12. Not too much, but it's kind of humbug just to pay $1. Okay, and if it was a refund here, you could have it direct deposited by filling in this information right here into her bank account. And it is possible to have this $1 debited, but you could instead enclose a check or money order. Here it says enclose, but do not attach that payment payable to the United States Treasury for that one measly dollar. Also at the bottom of our 1040EZ is where the taxpayer would sign off and date. I want you to make sure you try to fill in this occupation. Don't just leave it for the taxpayer to fill in. And it wasn't given to us, so I'll just say clerk here for Jen. And this paid preparer use only. If you were paid money to prepare this return, you would have to fill in this information, including a preparer tax ID number. And if you don't have one, you're probably violating the law. So if you're preparing tax returns free for your friends and family, you just leave this bottom portion empty because you're not a paid preparer. But if you are being paid, compensated for preparing a return, then you pretty much know already that you're supposed to be filling out this bottom portion, including this ID number down here. Okay, so that's Jin's tax return. So let me do a couple more steps here. Let me go ahead and save it. In here I'll just add a version number to my name here. I'll call it version number 2. And then I'll close the return. And let's see if I can open it up again just to make sure that all the numbers are still there. Yeah. Where is it? Kamida. Number 2. Okay, I want you to make sure all is closed and open again just to make sure the numbers are there and readable. Now, if it's not readable, or periodically, what you should be doing is updating your Acrobat Reader software. So here under the Help command in the menu bar, you should check for updates here to make sure you have the latest version of Acrobat Reader. Okay, so this has been problem number 2 at the end of chapter 1.